What's up, my juice lovers? Welcome to the Cold Pressed Truth. This is Charlie Wetlaufer. I know it's been a while. I was stuck in Canada during the pandemic, and then we moved again, but I'm finally settled in my new home in Austin, Texas, and ready to get back on the horse. So, this video is a companion video for an article I wrote in 2020, a very popular article called Cold Pressed Juice Bar Business Plans, the 4 Basic Models. So, if you're thinking about starting a juice business, you're going to have to choose which of the basic business models you're going to pick. And I'm going to go over the 4 models and kind of go in depth on what they mean. So from a high level, the 4 models are, the first one is delivery only. The second one is a retail juice bar. Third one is wholesale. And fourth one is combination. So the first one, delivery only. This is where we're seeing more and more juice businesses start these days. Like a surprisingly large number of new cold pressed juice companies we sell machines to are just starting from home or starting from their friend's kitchen at their restaurant or renting space in a kitchen somewhere. And basically, it's a really lean type of business where all you need is a juice machine and your produce and your bottles, and you make bottled juice. You take orders online, which is becoming easier and easier these days. I mean, especially after the pandemic, it is now easier than ever to fire up a little e-commerce website and start taking orders with Shopify or Wix or any number of other sort of website companies out there. You can get started pretty quick. And the way delivery only works usually is the company will take orders online for delivery later. So you don't need to guess how much juice you're going to have to make. You actually take the orders on, say, Monday and then deliver on a Wednesday. So if somebody's ordering a juice cleanse or their juice for the week, say they order on a Friday, deliver it Monday. If they order on a Sunday, deliver it Tuesday or Wednesday. Some companies even have specific days they deliver. So maybe they just have like 2 days a week they deliver or 3 days a week, and you have to get your order in before the cutoff. So if they deliver Wednesday and Friday, they'll say cutoff delivery for Wednesday. You have to order by Monday. By Friday, you have to order by Wednesday, etc. And that works well for companies. Like if you're an owner operator, meaning you started the business and you're running the business yourself, you're making the juice yourself, or maybe it's you and your spouse or you and your children or something. This works well for that business model because you don't really need to hire anybody else. You know how much juice you have to make when you come in Monday morning. You can go buy the produce you need or get it delivered. And it's a really good way to start out and keep your costs low. You can usually get away with doing this from home for a certain amount of time. Or like I mentioned earlier, if you know somebody that owns a restaurant or a retail business that has a kitchen, and you can just ask them, hey, is it okay if I borrow your kitchen when you're closed twice a week or 3 times a week for a couple hours so I can make my juice? You can either get in there in the morning before they open, or you can get in after they close. A lot of cafes close around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., so you could get in there, say, 4 p.m. and make juice till 7. Or if it's a business that doesn't open until dinner time, you have plenty of time in the morning or afternoon to get in there and make your juice. Obviously, you have to make sure you clean up and leave the place in good working condition. So that's a delivery business. I think it's a really good way to start. And we have, if you go to the Good Nature website, we have a PDF you can download on how to set up like a home kitchen for a little juice delivery company, which I really recommend. You can get the Good Nature M1 or the X1 Mini, and you can really run your business from home for the first, 6 months, year, 2 years, until you're confident that you're ready to scale up and spend the money on a lease and get a storefront and really open a juice business. So that leads into my next one here, a retail juice bar. So some people call it retail, some people call it brick and mortar. You can just call it a juice bar. but it is basically a juice bar that has a storefront in a real building where people can come in and order and sit down if you have seats or just take the juice to go. And this is obviously a much larger investment and sometimes not feasible for people just starting out, but it can be a key to success because you have to think like a storefront with a sign and a window and people can walk by and see it and come in. It's advertising, right? It's marketing. Especially if you're in a busy area. Areas that usually do well are near gyms, especially like nice higher end gyms, or near yoga studios. Just someplace where when people are going to be healthy, that's usually a good area. You don't necessarily want to open in a plaza that has like a Jack in the Box and McDonald's. You really want to look for those sort of higher end plazas or areas and find out what the lease is and try to negotiate a good lease, which is a whole nother topic we won't get into here. But basically, if you can get the investment, it's a very good route. And this is probably the most popular route for our customers. Juice bar is number one, juice delivery is number two. So this is what I would recommend if you can get the investment together. How much you need? I mean, it depends. If the place you're taking over has already got the sort of cafe layout built out, you don't need nearly as much. But I mean, you're talking like 100,000 at the low end, 500,000 at the high end if you have to do a full build out and you want it to be nice. So it obviously takes a bit of investment, but it's a great way to start and probably the best way if you can afford it. And if you have a retail juice bar, you can get into a business model where you can actually make juice at one location and sell it through several. So as we'll get into when we talk about wholesale in a second, there are laws against wholesaling raw juice in the US. So if you make juice on your juice machine and it's raw, meaning it has not been pasteurized or HPP'd, then you cannot sell it to a grocery store that resells it under the federal guidance. Now, there are some areas that allow it. There's some areas in California where the health inspectors allow it. There's some places in other states that I've heard that allow it, but there are some states that are very, very strict about not doing that. And if you're not sure where your state falls in, call your local health department and ask them. They're usually very friendly and helpful because they appreciate it when businesses call them ahead of time and ask instead of opening and then sort of trying to fight with them for months over the regulations. So obviously look into the laws, but once you get one juice bar open, especially if it has like a big enough kitchen in the back where you could do some real sort of high volume processing, you can open a second and then a third and then a fourth, and you can make juice for all those stores from one. Now, obviously, that's only for the bottled juice, not for the made-to-order juice or the custom juice, which you can still do at each individual location. Okay, that brings us to wholesale. Now, wholesale is basically you're running a little factory and you're selling juice to cafes and grocery stores and markets. Now, the issue with wholesale is that it takes a very big investment to do it cheaply enough per bottle that you can make money. And why? Well, there's a few reasons, but number one, when you're not selling to the end customer and you're just selling to a middleman that then sells to the end customer, they only pay you half the money. That's basically what it comes down to, is they sell it for $8, they only want to pay you $4. So how do you make money on that? Well, your costs have to be very, very low. And how do you get low costs? The volume has to be really high. That's basically what it comes down to. You need big machines doing high volume, highly automated. Good Nature makes a $500,000 juice machine. Now you wouldn't need to go that big, but I mean that's the kind of scale you're talking here. You're probably going to need to spend six figures on juice equipment, and then because of the laws about wholesaling, you're also going to need to HPP or pasteurize the juice. Now, there are what they call some quote unquote HPP tolling facilities set up around the country that you can utilize, where you send your juice to them and then they HPP it for you and send it back. But that's expensive too. I mean, think about, you have to get the juice to the facility. So you either have to drive pallets of bottles of juice there, or you have to pay someone to deliver it. And then they run it through the machine, and then you have to get it back or send it out from there. But I mean, it's pricey. You're talking like 40 cents a bottle, 50 cents a bottle, $1 a bottle, depending on your volume. So that's what I mean by, if you want to do wholesale, you definitely have to go big, and it's a tough business. I don't recommend it for most people. Probably investment to do it successfully, you need a few $1,000,000. So probably not the best way to start. And honestly, cold pressed juice is not a great business to do wholesale. The best businesses to wholesale are like all these crappy drinks you see on the shelf, like soda and teas and stuff. Well, sorry, tea's not a crappy drink, but it's low cost. Or these juices from concentrate. They're 90 to 95% water, and then a little bit of like syrup and food coloring or whatever. Now the tea is not, but that's mostly water too, maybe 99% water. So very high margin. They can make it very, very low cost. Juice, you're talking dollars of cost in a bottle, or if you can get the cost down low, maybe $1. But that's like using conventional produce and buying in extremely high volumes. And it's just a really tough business. And then there's still shelf life issues. Like even when you HPP something, it's still only good for, maybe 3 to 4 to 6 weeks, depending. And it's a really tough business. That's why so many wholesale cold pressed juice companies haven't made it. So not where I would recommend starting. Now, the combination recipe, the combination juice business model, this is great, and this is what you should strive for. It's my recommendation. Start as a delivery company or start as a juice bar, and then start adding on the other methods, right? So if you start as delivery and then you open a juice bar, you still do delivery. You just now also have a retail juice bar for people to buy from. Or if you start as a juice bar, make sure you also add on delivery. So now you have the combination of delivery and juice bar. And that is where we're seeing the most success today, is these juice bars that also offer delivery. Or even then you can even get into wholesale. Like if you live in one of those areas that allows it, you can sell it through the local cafes and markets and stuff. And by the way, I forgot to mention, whether you're a delivery or a juice bar company, can obviously do like farmers markets. That's a great revenue source for a lot of these little delivery companies. They make juice from home or from the kitchen and deliver to their customers, and then they hit up all the farmers markets in the area every week. So pick your favorite one or pick your favorite 2 or 3 farmers markets every week. Some juice businesses survive purely on farmers markets. It's a totally valid business model. You make the juice ahead of time, you bring it to the market, you sell it to the customer. It's a pretty good model, good way to start as you get your confidence up to open a juice bar. So back to the combination model. If you can make that work, so juice bar, delivery, farmers markets, a little bit of wholesale, if you can combine as many as possible, and that's what we call an omni-channel business. You're selling through multiple channels, right? Online is one channel, retail is another channel. Then that's where you can really start to see your business grow and start to see some success in your company. So that's the 4 basic business models for a cold pressed juice business. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Peace, love, juice. Okay.